Okay, my buddy down in Aiken, South Carolina, Jeff Ford, is working on some floor pans. And he bent this angle and he bent that angle, and looking at the teeth marks, he did that in a wood vise. And he cut the middle out there. So I was going to show him how to go ahead and do a bend around a corner like that. And I've seen his toolbox and he doesn't have a whole lot to work with. So I'm going to try to use everything that I've seen in his shop so that he can do it, or anybody else who doesn't have a whole lot of specialized tools can do a bend like that. Okay, this is a piece of 19 gauge cold rolled that's probably actually came in the car. And this is the piece that Jeff had made. So we're going to put it in a vise and bend it up exactly like he did. It's highly technical here. It's like the Ratatouille movie. You can cook. So this is going to be just a glorified tuck that we're going to make so we can do some tuck shrinking. Okay, we're going to take this over a little bit more to about a 45 or so. Okay, you can see the tuck forming right there. Now the other thing to help give this thing some support is I got a piece of 10 gauge here that I cut out. So you're going to need some thick metal, and it needs to sit in there, and we're going to clamp that in the vise. And I've pulled it a little bit too much here, so I'm going to tap that back down. Okay, we're going to tap this back down a little bit. So that brings that back straight. Now that piece will go in there, and we're going to clamp the whole works in there. Okay. Now it's just like what we were doing the other day. Only we got a little bit longer flange, so it makes it a little more difficult. But basically, you're looking at hammering down the high spot. Okay, I've got one of these that I'm going to use for my anvil, and I'm picking this because I know Jeff's got one, or one similar. But we're just going to hit the high spot. Now, the ringing you hear is actually a loose handle in the hammer. If you hear that's typically a stretch. So as long as we don't hear that, we should be shrinking. And just keep hammering it back and forth. Okay, we almost got it here, just a little bit more. Do some off dolly here. Bring that low spot up. So that's real close. We're going to work that just a little bit more. All right, we're real close on this. I'm just going to clean this up a little bit. And there we go. It's fairly straight going down through there. If you need a little bit more shrink on this, just keep doing the same process back and forth. I'll put it back in there a second. And just to show this, you're looking for a void to hammer it into. Here's our high spot, so I'll support it just past the high spot. Notice I'm still off dolly. So here, I'll support it here. Here's my high spot. And you're just hammering it back and forth into itself. And before you know it, you've got a corner that doesn't need seam sealer. Okay, I missed an important step, and that's why did Robert make this piece. And that's a piece of 10 gauge, or it's a little bit thicker than an 1/8 inch sheet of metal. So basically, when we're hammering a tuck down, if we were to have this clamped in here, and we're hammering this, it's going to have a tendency to take this edge, this top corner here, and pull it this direction. So by making this thicker piece of metal the same size as our bend, that goes up into that corner of the flange, and it gives us support all the way across here. So when we're hammering this, it's not pulling on that so much. All right, Jeff, so this is what we have. That was, even with cutting this out, I have all of about 10 minutes in making that part. And it looks, that's about a direct replacement part. I can mail this down to you if you really want me to, but you know, that just shows how to make that. You can keep the corner on there. You don't have to fill in a hole later. So there we go.